Episode number 442. I just want to say thank you so much for rocking with your boy. And most importantly, I don't know if you guys know, but I do have 4 businesses that help me do what I do each day. The first one is our foundational business. That is Real-Time Outsource. That is realtimeoutsource.com. We can help you boost your digital presence in 7 days a week, folks. We're working with our clients is for them on their behalf. So take advantage of our team and let your social media thrive in 2024. And that leads into my second business, which is realtimereputation.us. This is a business that I was sitting down with a customer. We were talking about their software that we could use to possibly power his reviews. And so we did eventually white labeled and now have our own software to help you power your business and get more customer feedback and online reviews 24 hours a day. Easy with an email list or a phone list. Realtimereputation.us. Take advantage of it, folks. And my next businesses are my passion projects. They are my loves, and I want to see them thrive and grow this year. I love podcasts. That's ILUV podcast.com. This is our podcast agency where we can help you get your voice in front of the right people. We're using audience strategies, booking services, our podcast marketing services, and our podcast review strategies. We can not only help you get your podcast to that next level, but also help you get booked on 3, 5, 8 shows every single month and making it easy for you to focus on what you do and help us take our network and extend out your voice to them. And my last one, which is my favorite and my baby, and that is dreamsportscars.com. Dreamsportscars.com. What do you dream about? And we have searched the most craziest cars across the globe, from baseball, basketball, Pokemon, wrestling, UFC, and the list goes on. We're also on Whatnot Daily. That is dreamsportscars.com. We have on eBay and Whatnot Daily with 3 shows a day. And most importantly, I hope you guys are having a great day. And thank you.
We're not a robin who knows how to build their house the next spring because it's hardwired in our brains. Everything humans do is an acquired skill. Right. And when somebody's incompetent, it just means they've been undertrained.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, I hope you guys are fired up today. I hope you guys are ready to get some fuego in your days, nights, weekends, or whenever you are listening to the show today. But after this show, I think you're going to want to think about your managers, yourself, and look at yourself and say, can I be a more effective leader? And in my dude, Bob, in 90 days, most of the time, he is able to take people and change them and basically get them 3 to 5 years of industry experience and change these multiple managers you might have in your business and turn them to obviously people that can help you lead and grow the business. Many of us as entrepreneurs know that's some of the hardest things to do. And I'm personally going to be taking a lot of notes, my guy, Bob, because this is a time in my business I want to continue to transition as well. Before we get into everything with my guest today, Mr. Bob Donaldson, I have to ask you today, are you ready to be real?
And I am, brother.
He's ready. He's ready, folks. Folks, my dude, Mr. Bob, tell me this. Before you started getting into business, before you started getting into coaching entrepreneurs and changing the game in their lives, tell me this. Were you always into business? Were you always an entrepreneur yourself and selling people stuff and talking to people?
No, I stumbled into this issue in 1985.
Wow.
It was my first management job at an agency. And they had just finished a long labor strike, and bad blood was flowing down the hallway into the room and into every. Cars were being keyed, nails against car tires in the company parking lot, wow. Personal property being stolen, drug and alcohol abuse on company time. And 5 years later, this agency was an award-winning industry leader.
Wow. And how did that happen?
Well, it became my life's work. Gotcha. And what I discovered, doing things that mystify us when they're working against their own best interest, when they're violent, it's because they're incompetent and they're disempowered. bad combination. So using that bad combination, I basically reversed that order, and that's what changed everything around, and it became my life's work.
Wow. So you came in as a separate entity into this agency, and then you helped kind of transform it from seeing this negativity vibe, all this kind of kind of stuff that's not going to help the company grow. And then you were able to take all that out and then change it into an agency leading into the game, which is obviously the complete opposite transition. Where do you start? Where do you start in that process?
Is that I was the new kid on the block, and it wasn't too long before my car was getting keyed and I had a flat tire because I didn't check for the nails against my tar tire.
Right.
And so what you do is you start with baby steps. The first thing is you can't get angry. You can't get mad at the people you're trying to help.
Right.
Also, is a zinger that most people haven't heard before, and that is, in a very unhealthy work environment, your healthiest actors will first appear as an antagonist. Now, pause and think about that for a second. If you're a real healthy actor and you're in an unhealthy work environment, you're frustrated, you're angry, you're pissed off when you go into the box. Not every antagonist is a healthy actor, but when that person walks into your office, put your pen down and just listen to what they have to say. And if it turns out they are a very frustrated, healthy actor, what they're about to tell you is pure gold, and you can use every word of it to improve your organization.
Right. Yeah, because I think that's the thing that you're right about. Like you see, you're like, I always remember people at like my old job would be like at their smoke breaks. I'm like, dude, okay, this person like literally had like a pack of cigarettes. Like that's like literally like half the day. They're outside. And now my boss is over here killing us all. And this person's over here just, so I'm going to take the smoke break time and I'm just going to leave early for the day, is my thought. And so you start doing things like that. You know what I mean? Like even as a healthy employee, as someone that wants to work hard, you start seeing people take advantage of the system and you're like, hey, well, I'm going to start doing it too in my own way, whether it's cutting out early or whatever that looks like to the person. But then you start this person that was healthy, if not listened to, kind of starts following the trend, right?
Right. It's a bad scene. It's a bad scene.
Yeah, I mean, and I worked at a very large organization, one of the top ones in the world, as far as companies. If you say the word Disney, people know Disney, and so it's a hard business to manage because there's a lot of entities of Disney, and there's a lot of different branches of Disney. Disney is not just the parks; it's the television stations, it's movie studio. There's a lot of different parts of it. So to make it to change that. It might be more difficult, in a huge corporation, right?
Well, it doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be.
If everybody's in a leadership position is following what I think are the top 7 steps.
Now, what are those steps? I'm curious now. 7 steps.
Okay. Enroll here. Step 1, plan what you say and do before you say it and do it. Okay. Now, everybody knows that's probably a good idea, but almost nobody does it, Travis.
Right.
Okay. So here's the deal. Treat people with dignity and respect and do it consistently and predictably. Now, I don't have time to get into the science. Is the gateway into the human brain. And when you do things consistently and predictably, what people do, now wait for it, what people do is they'll build a relationship around your needs. It's nothing less than incredible when you have your first line supervisors, middle CEO, just simply making sure that they're planning dignity and respect and they're doing it consistently and predictably. It changes the entire landscape from the top down. Number 2, pay 100% attention to the person that you're engaging with at the moment. So in other words, if you're talking with somebody, if you look away, you break eye computer screen, or maybe you look at the phone screen of the person calling you. Whenever you're doing that, when you're engaging with somebody, the message that you're sending is there's an entire world out there that's a lot more important to me than you are.
Right.
And it I'll tell you, the negative impact that has on your relationship building as a leader is massive. And step number 3, we talk about things that you need to do as a leader, but there's also things you need to stop doing, which is public shaming. Public embarrassment is never okay. And
Right.
what public embarrassment does is it rejects the person from the group. And they found out that when a person is rejected from the group, the off as if you're getting your thumb hit with a hammer.
Right. Wow.
Think about it.
Right.
So bullying, explosive anger, they have anger management classes that are very successful. Get some help. And being unreliable when people need you the most. So the fact is that intimacy without integrity to nosedive. And so you really got to be there. You got to keep your promises. Now, we learned some of this stuff in kindergarten, but people don't follow it. Step number 4, make sure you give the information to others that's accurate. Okay, we have a fire hose of bull crap coming from the internet. It's blast, and it just is just overwhelming. And now that we know there's algorithms that are sneaking into the brain stuff, it's horrible. So hey, what you do is you want to build a reputation as an accurate source, and you do that by choosing carefully your sources of advice. Number 2, opinion might be fact, but you don't know it. And number 3, verify.
Right.
When you become a reliable source of information, people start relying on you, and it gives you a level of status and integrity that you've earned in their eyes and their minds. The next thing is, and I know expertise is kind of world, but become an expert in your craft. Simply find somebody who's really good at doing what you want to do and mimic them. I mean, you can get a personal mentor, make some phone calls.
Right.
You might get 50 no's, but all you need is one yes. And when you get that, you got a mentor.
And change your life. Change your life if you get, the right mentor.
Change your life. That's exactly right. I couldn't say it better. And then you can go onto the internet. There's master classes and everything now.
Right.
Go for it.
You can learn it on YouTube or pay for it, right? It's like you can learn it on the free version, or there's paid versions of master classes in there.
Go for it. And if you got a master class, and you're on your way, man. You're totally on your way. Okay. The next thing is, and this is kind of a personal thing, but it makes so much of a difference. Make sure you have a list of the most important things to do. And this includes the important things of the important people in your life. And then set personal deadlines. If you don't set personal deadlines, the task, it may never get taken care of. So the most important things first, and set deadlines. Now, life happens. And if you have to reschedule that deadline, that's okay.
Right.
But always have some sort of deadline sitting out in front of you. And your mind and your body is going to cooperate with that deadline.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can change it if you have to, because hey, life happens.
Right.
And then one is become a expert problem solver. The fact is that when I say, hey, who here is an excellent problem solver? There's a little voice in the back of everybody's head, and most of them say, well, I'm already an excellent problem solver. Well, yeah, you're laughing. You're laughing already. Study after study after study, put in their problem solving capability, then they should be. Right. So here's the deal. Once again, it's at our fingertips. Go find a 6-step process or 8-step problem solving process. Use that for every problem that you solve. And every time I've trained people in my 8-step problem solving process, they come back and go, hey, did you know this works? When you become an excellent problem solver, not only does that impact your employability as a super employee, making sure things are solved at work, it also helps you solve problems at home. And so this is what it's all about. It's all these 7 steps actually make the human more effective in their personal lives. And then they take that personal effectiveness every day and they become super employees. And that's what I've learned over the last 40 years of doing this.
Wow. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. So, but go into the first one, because the biggest thing that I think people get into is not planning what they want to say. Because basically you just go into a meeting and Hey guys, how you all doing today?
No, when people are talking, which is a form of behavior, they're not planning anything out. They're just winging it, and they're not being contemplative. So just think about, okay, who is my audience? And how do I deliver that information with the most dignity and respect I can?
Right,
So if it's something that's controversial or something that's difficult, you open the conversation with, boy, this is a real difficult conversation.
right,
I'm going to try to make sure that we have enough information that I'm going to be giving answers at the end of this meeting so we can work our way through this very difficult situation.
right.
When you are approaching people at that real human level, like I said, dignity and respect is a gateway into the human mind. That human mind will open right up if they know they're going to receive that level of treatment. And predictably, those are the two key words. It's not only a great way to raise children, it's a great way to manage your employees because they start to rely on that consistency and that predictability. It makes them feel safe.
Right.
You're actually creating a really psychologically safe environment. And it becomes very powerful. Now, you don't have to be perfect, but practice it. Practice,
Right.
practice, practice. What do I want to say? And how am I going to behave? And how am I going to use those 4 words: dignity, respect, consistently, predictably, and just start practicing at it.
Right. Yeah, because it's those, like you said, those things that all sound easy, but then to practice it, it's like anything. It's like, doing 400 podcasts. It sounds easy, but do them for 400. Do 400. Let's go. Put the work in for the 400 and talk to me at 450 something episodes, because it's been a process of learning and continually growing, obviously. And I always say you never have to be perfect. You just have to be you. You have to record it, and you have to at the end of the day, when you make mistakes or whatever, you got to learn a little bit from it, and if as much as you can. And I don't know everything either. I'm learning every day. I got a whole page load of notes right now with my guy Bob. As a business owner that I'm learning about, things that it's hard for me to think about.
Yeah, well, you're right, Travis. Now, just remember this: 5 minutes after you were born, and if they didn't, you would have frozen to death. We're not wildebeest where we walked within 20 minutes of birth. Right. We're not a robin who knows how to build their house the next spring because it's hardwired in our brains. Everything humans do is an acquired skill. Right. And when somebody's incompetent, it just means they've been undertrained. And part of every training program is practice, brother. So just get out there and practice stuff. All this is an acquired skill. We weren't born knowing it. And if we didn't receive the training from our folks, school, neighborhood, or maybe a mentor who entered into our life, if a lot of people don't have those 4 things, right, that means they're undertrained, which means they have to acquire the skill. And part of every training program, as you speak, practice, 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 baby.
I wish that we could interweave these type of things into the education system, like a class about coaching, a class about, because this is going to help you transition in your life beyond just, answering a few A, B, or C, D method. And then also managing money, how to manage money, guys. Let's be real. You can make $1 million. You spend $1.1 million, you're broke. You don't have no money. You're negative money. So, you can go make $100 trillion, quadrillion dollars, and we've seen it time and time again. And these people end up with nothing, possibly. Or there's someone that ends up with, I was reading recently a story, like a janitor, no one even knew, and he had $30 million because he had invested it, and he just was able to give a bunch of money away. And it's kind of a classic story, but it's just interesting because you don't have to be flexing it too. We live in a kind of a flex generation where everyone's flexing their, wealth and their attained things. But the biggest thing that we can have beyond a lot of these things is the dignity, respect, being able to do it consistently, being able to work your ass off, be able to practice it, be able to, that's what practice is. And Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or the greatest athletes you watch on Sundays, or your favorite sport, the reason why they're there is because they practice a whole hell of a lot than you did, or the next competitor. And you know, we forget that. You know,
Well, yeah, absolutely. You know, Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron broke his record back in the 70s. He held that record for I think almost 6 decades.
right.
And what other people don't talk about is he was also had the record for the most strikeouts. So,
Wow.
hey, baby, the moral of the story is
Yeah.
you're not gonna hit the ball if you don't swing. And
Right.
even if it's 10-1, think about it. You end up in the Hall of Fame with a 300. You know, with the 300.
Right. That means you
average.
struck out like what, seven times.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
You're in the damn Hall of Fame, guys.
Exactly. So what I'm hoping to do, and you mentioned them, is I'm going to take collaborative power grab. That's the book that I wrote last year,
Right.
and I'm going to convert it into like a high school version.
Ooh,
And
nice.
see if I can float that out there and see if there's anybody interested. Because
Yeah.
wouldn't it be something if you learned this as part of your
Oh yeah.
curriculum?
Cooking. I mean, it sounds stupid, but like how to make a meal. Like, you know, you guys could be millionaires if you didn't spend all your money on Uber Eats. Like, you know, you could be buying the next Tesla stock. I remember buying Tesla stock for $500, and the position's like 50 G's. It's a small win. It's a small win, but the point is, it's a reality that exists in today's market climate. And that with $500, people blow that on Uber Eats in 1 month. You know what I mean? Buying just like convenient stuff they want to them, you know, and they don't have $500 extra to go put it in a Tesla. And then, you have a whole bunch more, than you did with the 500. Now you can do even bigger things with your investments. But I think it comes back to some of these things with practice. So are you finding that people are having issues with that right now? So I think, all that said, with the plan in place here, I think the biggest thing that it's hardest to do is to practice every single day, to make this a reality in your life, to not let life take over and leave its excuses, just like it can do on my podcast. You know, people will say, how did you record 450 shows? Well, I recorded every Monday. We did 3 shows every Monday. We publish them, and that's how you do it. But there's obviously life that comes up in that. So you have to find that balance right now, my guy, Bob. I think this is probably a bigger challenge than ever for people. What types of industries are you finding that, like coaching and things like that, either resonates with or are needing it more than ever?
Well, I think right now, our focus is on manufacturing.
Right.
And
interesting.
And manufacturing is exploding right now because there's a huge amount of public money coming in, and there's private money coming in. We're looking at one of the most revolutionary explosions in the manufacturing that we've seen since World War II.
Right.
And the reason manufacturing is such a prime area for improvement is, and if I've heard this once, I've heard it a million times, the technical guy becomes the supervisor. And so he was a good mechanic or a good whatever. Right. So we're going to make him a supervisor, and we're going to make him a supervisor with no leadership training whatsoever. And you can imagine what happens. So the fact is that this is an industry that's absolutely ripe for turning those first line supervisors and that are great technicians, but they need that additional people training so they know what to do next when it comes to managing people and not just managing equipment and processes.
Right. Yeah, it's totally different. You have to look, people have what they call emotions. You know, your AI robot doesn't have a bad day. He wakes up the same every day. He didn't get cut off in the morning traffic or whatever it is, or didn't have something horrific happen to him in his own life. The emotional balance, the emotional spectrum is wild every day for everybody.
It is, and when a first line supervisor and middle manager, and a lot of times I'm called in because the company, they need help at that first line supervisor, that middle manager area, because they are great technicians, but their people management skills are horrible. And as soon as I start to expose them to a lot of starting now actions, including these 7 steps that we covered today,
Right.
things really start to change. So what causes a person to change? It's usually pain. It's usually things, enough pain where the person goes, okay, I got to try something else.
Right. Right. I mean, that's for some of us, it takes longer than others. Some of us are willing to change in 1 second. Some of us takes 10 years to make a change. Oh, I got that nagging neck injury. Oh, what the hell is it? Oh, that's probably something wrong with you there. But it's true. It's just true. Depending on human nature, depending on what you got going on in your life and what your soul is purpose on this earth. I think pain it can be very motivating, but it can also be something that people just live with and they don't even think about,
Oh man. That is a golden statement right there that you made.
Right.
People don't even realize they're doing it. Holy cow. That is so true. It hurts. It hurts us all.
Right. Yeah. It can bring down everybody. And I was listening to a interview Halloween episode with Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, who's one of my favorite people to learn about. After 450 episodes, one of the most, people that would love to get to know this guy a little more. From some of the top entrepreneurs in the mind, they'd like to know what's ticking in Elon's. And what he said multiple times is, manufacturing is so hard because he's manufacturing this Cybertruck. He said, you can draw it out, test it out, and make one, but you got to roll that out and make 200,000 of these things. It's not easy. And it's fascinating to hear because obviously from someone like that, he's building rockets and he's sending the Starlink and satellites into the space, and all those companies are all manufacturing businesses, basically.
Yeah, exactly. You can't be a great country and not actually make things, right?
Right.
And so there's there's hundreds of thousands of people that are facing these same kind of problems. And of course we do know the rules of the road. And if we don't use them, it's because we're just not doing a good job. So what does that mean? It means leadership training for first line supervisors and middle managers. It means, getting the designers and the assembly line in the same room. Right. How's that for a concept? Right. I think when Tesla was going on, Elon would look over and goes, how come there's 6 bolts there? We could do it with 4, right. And so these little changes make huge differences. But if you've got 1,000 little changes, it's hard to do sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I know. Like with the manufacturing, they're talking about like just eliminating the amount of parts needed on like a plane, like to build an airplane. And like eventually over time, like those things will all be kind of almost 3D printed in a way where you'll have less and less parts. And then talking about how that can make it even fly faster and just so many different things. It was fascinating. Just removing small bolts and pieces from the plane can basically get you to a destination faster because it can go. It was kind of fascinating,
and more reliably.
Right. Yeah, exactly. With less breakdowns and less issues and less maintenance and all those things that we love when you get to the airport and they go, hey, you know what? Your plane is you're not able to get out of here today. So you're going to have to wait another day. You're like, come on, man. Give me another plane, man.
That's your job. That's your job.
Or right now, honestly, the bigger one that my brother's a pilot, is that they will have pilots that just are not able to fly the plane. So all of a sudden they got the plane here, guys, but we ain't got no pilots for you guys today. Bob, are you ready to fly the plane? Come back here, Bob. I got a training for you. We're gonna have you push a couple buttons here, and we'll get you on your way here shortly. Bob will be your new pilot. It's fascinating, but it's a real thing because the logistics of an airplane company are not easy. They're just not.
People have a tendency to look out. People have a tendency to look out in the world and kind of oversimplify things, and it's not simple. It's complicated. It's challenging. Right. There is a right way to do it. But in order for you to do it the right way, you got to acquire that skill. You're not born with that skill, right?
Right.
And so certain people, there's the famous skunk work engineers that built the SR-71, if we're talking about airplanes. I mean, it was just the reason that worked is because they did the right thing. They faced the challenges. They were able to solve problems that nobody else could solve. And one of the ways they did that is they acquired the skill of communication and collaboration, made sure the design and the materials specialists and the mechanics were all in the same room. Okay. And so there's ways to do complicated. There's ways to do that. But if you oversimplify the picture, you're not getting on the ground floor of acquiring the skills you need to be a contributor to the solutions.
And then another one that I didn't even think about until a couple of days ago, and it's different because it's not necessarily manufacturing products, but it's manufacturing content. And that they're saying that more people across the world are learning English because now everything is going live on YouTube or Netflix today. And they used to like wait for the translation, but now they're not even waiting for that translation. They just want the content. So they're willing to learn English. It's a phenomenon that basically I can't, it's hard to kind of put your head around, but it makes sense. But I mean, just like why, famous artists have the whole, concert packed in a different country and they're singing all the same words and it's all in English words, they're singing the song, and it's the same kind of idea, but now it's in content, it's in movies, it's in YouTube, it's in Mr. Beast, and it's in everything, it's a kind of a fascinating thing that is one of our newest, biggest manufacturing elements in that we're creating content to manufacture, And it's not easy to create content. I was listening to Mr. Beast. He spends millions of dollars on each video and sometimes loses money on each video. And he believes that there's no advertiser that can pay him what his video's worth because their videos are getting like 100 million views. They would have to pay him like some of them, he said, like they'd have to pay me their entire influencer budget for the entire year just for one video or something, So some of those, basically brands, that's why he's creating his own brand. So he's basically made Mr. Beast bar and he's got the Mr. Beast burger and he's creating his own businesses. So he'd rather invest and basically distribute his own companies that he can, make money on than work with brands that can't afford his distribution. So it's fascinating. He made so much good content that basically now he's turned it all into, a competitor to Coca-Cola and McDonald's and et cetera. And he's literally competing on Walmart shelves.
That's the power. That's the power of it.
It's fascinating. It truly is. And that's a guy, if you guys ever are interested in creating content, listen to Mr. B's interviews. He gives you everything. He spends 1 million hours per video. That's why his videos are better than ever. He spends his whole life on each video. That's why his videos are better than yours. Let's just be real. He spends $2 million a video. That's why his videos are better than everyone else's. And so bottom line is, and then you have to literally not only spend the money, but then work your ass off,
Yes,
so
right.
It's like not just you just spend money. It's you literally have to work your ass off every clip, every second of these video clips, analyzing every single second to make it the most viral, most impactful. And obviously now he's competing against Coca-Cola, against McDonald's, and who knows what's next? Who knows what other businesses he's going to come up with?
Exactly right. And I forget who said it, but somebody said it a long time ago that opportunity can be hidden by hard work. So
right, exactly.
Create your own luck. Create your own luck.
The typical overnight success that took 15 years to get there. And you finally hear it. I was listening to one about a music star, and his music it became super popular. A song of his became super popular in Africa, and like he didn't even know it. And like it was crazy. It was like I forgot what I was listening to, and it was like it gave me goosebumps because this dude literally thought his music was shit, and it was like one of the biggest songs in Africa, like the biggest, like crazy. And like he went over there and he was like a god, and he thought he was just like some garbage musician, and like it literally like it's just amazing like what you don't know too about your content, like you don't know when you push that button on your YouTube on your who's going to reach. And that this is like kind of a fascinating story. It was a while ago where you didn't have the internet and things like that to kind of just search on, but it was just kind of fascinating. He didn't even know how famous he was,
The world has truly become our oyster. And
right.
and if you have something to say that contributes to anything,
right?
people's joy, people's quality of living. If you have something to contribute, it's really about exposure, and getting those people corralled and viewing and becoming a promoter. And so the world is truly our oyster right now. There is some negative things, right? There's some negative things about the internet, but there's a lot of positive things. The news, go out and make some of your own, have a positive impact.
Totally. Same thing with AI and all these things. Like, okay, yes, AI is scary, but if you haven't used ChatGPT, you really don't know what ChatGPT is, right? Like, if you haven't gone on Google and see what you could search for on there, you don't really know how cool Google could be, as a tool. Or on YouTube, I remember asking a question about changing my 3-prong dryer into a 4-prong, and I literally didn't have to hire an electrician. I just bought the parts, watched an electrician YouTube, and did what he followed all the safety steps, and I fixed it myself. I remember that was 10 years ago. That was the beginning of YouTube. And I just was like, wow, that's so cool. And then how amazing how it is now. Like, there's a million different people doing the same thing about everything, and you can learn so much, just literally like watching and learning from professionals, true professionals.
I know. And it's every subject under the sun. There was somebody in my office that said, holy cow, I can't get into my glove compartment. Right. I said, what's the model and year of your car? And I looked it up on YouTube.
Fucking nuts.
Into their glove compartment.
I know. I was watching. Dude,
what?
Crazy. I literally locked my door. I was thinking about calling a locksmith. I said, hey, let me go look for a locksmith. Did you guys know you can open up pretty much any door with a credit card or a piece of thin plastic bottle that you have in your freaking fridge? Cut that open and you can literally slide it in the lock. It will open it up in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Like, you think I'll go walk around with a piece of plastic and open everyone's damn doors in the whole freaking house. It was wild. I like, are you serious? You cut this open and you just stick it in there and just slides up. It just pops open. What the hell? $150 saved in 2 seconds of time. And I recycled it. I kept the earth clean. All right, my dude, we're about to get into the top 10 before we roll. Are you ready?
Yes.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Netflix or YouTube?
Oh, gosh.
Oh. Depends on the vibe, kind of on that one.
Boy, I straddle because I use them both.
Right. They're used for different things, I guess.
Yes, they are.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram still go to. I understand TikTok, but Instagram, wider platform, gives me more opportunity. But maybe not.
Absolutely. And obviously they just anything TikTok does, Instagram will do with reels and so many different things. Chicken or steak if you're thinking about a good meal?
No, I'm sorry. It's steak.
Steak, let's go. Laptop or smartphone if you have to get out the door right now?
Oh, phone can be. Love my laptop, so it's laptop.
Laptop, Spotify or Pandora?
More and more use for Spotify, less for Pandora.
Yeah, Spotify, just the content depth is just insane on there now with all the podcasts and so many different things.
Yeah. These lists on Spotify, it's just
right. All the playlists and stuff.
Faster, easier, better.
Yeah, true. Pandora has its place, but yeah, Spotify has definitely taken over. And I was just having a previous guest talk about how we could think it might be a real big competitor to YouTube down the road when they open up more video capability and all of a sudden you're on there watching your favorite videos of all your favorite music people and content and whatever, and then all of a sudden they're competing with YouTube and not completely, but they will be competing eventually for that time and attention. We all know they're all competing for time and attention.
Hey, that's right. That's right.
They want those eyeballs, boys and girls. Movies or video games. If you're thinking about, relaxing movies, reading books or listening to books, reading books or listening to books.
I love doing both. But when I'm really getting crunched and I got a long drive in front of me, but it's just nothing like getting that information from an audio format. People keep telling me I got to turn my book into an audio book. I'm working on it.
That would be epic.
I love, there's just, yeah, I love transfer of knowledge while I'm doing something else that's a little less demanding.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You could be at the working out at the gym. You could be walking. You could be just relaxing. You could be doing many different things. You could be gardening, driving.
Absolutely.
On the plane. So many places. I mean, you could obviously in some of these places you could also be reading a book, but then many of them you can't be reading a book. So yeah,
I enjoy holding the book. I enjoy reading the words.
Right.
But if I'm really busy, which I am, which is good. Right now I'm listening to a book on TED Talks, right?
Yeah, right.
It's just the transfer of knowledge is just so fast.
And something about it being able to just kind of subtly go into your brain too. You know, you can always re-listen to the book, like a good interview or podcast. A lot of times I'll re-listen to it just to kind of, did I catch all that? I really like that. Did I catch all that? You know, and just re-listen to it, and then also speed up. Like my guy Tom Billy, who does 4x speed. If the author's slow, you can kind of speed up the book a little bit. I don't know how the hell you do 4x speed, but I usually do time and a half, usually at the very most on my mind. But it's fun to kind of speed up the book a little bit if the author is going a little slow. 4x speed, you are a damn like a robot OG or something. I don't know how the hell you do that.
I do 1.5, but faster than that just doesn't work for me.
It starts to go a little too fast. Yeah.
The other thing I use the hardcover book for is I use that for my documentation. So I'll hear something in the audio feed. I'll go back to the main book and I'll turn the corner of that page because I want to be able to go back and reference that information. So that's the kind of the combination I like.
I like that too. And I always say a good book is a great gift too. After you read a book, don't let it sit on the shelf. Pass it on to a friend. Pass it on to a loved one. You never know how that gift can keep on giving. It's another really nice thing about a physical book. Stocks or real estate if you're thinking about investing.
Well, whether it's real estate or stock.
Yeah, it's usually just choose between. Or you can do both. It's always good to have diversification, but
some diversification's good. But once you get in, don't get scared.
Right. That's the biggest thing.
You got to hang in there.
Yes.
You know, so some cash, some investment.
Right.
But the stuff that's invested, if it drops low, just walk away. Historically, at least over the last 100 years, it's always gone back up.
Right.
Okay. And when it goes back up, it got better and it ate up all the losses. So you don't go in there if you're not ready. Just stay.
Yeah. Don't trade the market, guys. You literally in the last 10 years, you could have missed the 5 biggest days and it will change your return from like a lot to not as great. So don't trade this market. And if anything, do what they call dollar cost averaging. Today, you can actually buy $1, $10, $20 of a stock. You can actually buy fractional shares of companies, guys. You used to not be able to do that. So you could actually buy fractional shares of Berkshire Hathaway, which is a $100,000 company or whatever it is. It's a big stock, but you can buy a fraction of it. Or you could buy, obviously, a whole share of something. But today, you can actually even buy fractions. So $20, $10 of Amazon, $15 a week of whatever your favorite company is, and then do it consistently because then you're buying at all those different times, whether it's high or low. These companies, if you believe in them, I always say the best place to look is your bank statement. If they are charging your business, if they are charging you for their services, you should be investing in them. And if that changes, meaning you decide to choose a competitor, you should sell that stock and buy the competitor stock because you have changed. And literally it makes the most sense because if you fill up at Chevron and you prefer to go to, Target and you like to go to the certain places, you invest in those companies to start because it's literally where your loyalty is. And most of the time those companies are going to be around because you're there supporting them too. Oceans or lakes, if you're thinking about a vacation.
What's that?
Oceans or lakes, if you're thinking about a good vacation.
If the lake is in the mountains, I'm in the mountains.
Let's go. And because you live by a beautiful ocean up in the East Bay.
We in California, we get spoiled. We got a mountains an hour and a half in one direction and the ocean an hour and a half in the other direction and everything else in between. So we do get spoiled. You're right.
So nice. So nice. We live in near Yosemite. So you got the world's
Oh.
craziest gym, and then you got 2.5 hours to Pismo or Monterey, or an extra 30 minutes to go to San Francisco, baby.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it. But we do get the smog of Fresno. So we get that blessing of having a little extra smog in the moment. We do get that little blessing. But no worries. No, it's all you. Everything has a trade-off.
That's right.
When you're waking up for your day, my dude Bob, and you're getting ready, pumped, energized, ready to lead the team, ready to change some lives in the businesses that you coach. Why do you love being you, Mr. Bob Donaldson?
You know, I came up through the trenches. Yeah, and I did go through some college, but growing up, just not enough cash, young, very young, and was constantly grabbed because I could solve problems, and it almost didn't matter what happened. As my brother used to say, you could drop me into a bucket of shit and I'll come up smelling like a rose. And I think the main reason for that is, it's been a very satisfying career. And all I wanted to do, and now that I've got, 40 years of leadership under my belt, I want to pass that along. And there's nothing more rewarding than walking out and having people go, thanks for passing that on, because it's had a huge improvement on our business, and it's actually had a huge improvement on more satisfying than that.
Right. Yeah. This is not just stuff that works in business. I mean, these principles will work in life. This is life's principles here. These aren't just business, folks. This is how you coach the team, coach your fam, coach life, baby. Even if you don't have a fam, maybe this is the way you find your perspective. Plan what you say, folks. That'd be a great start to everything. Be impeccable with your word is another one that always sticks to me with the agreements. That's so hard to do sometimes, even though it's the 4 agreements. It's like be impeccable with your word. I mean, it sounds easy to do, guys. We all know that, but man, is that hard to pull off every day.
Well, I'm telling you, intimacy without integrity is and it's not going to work.
Right.
But regardless of how hard it is, the alternative is worse.
Right. Very true. Yeah, the alternative is worse. That's the motivating thing to say right there. The alternative is worse, folks. Is there a skill you're trying to master right now, Bob? Something you're trying to get better at?
I think it's always messaging. If I think I have a way to improve somebody's life and I can't get their attention, what I'm working on is my messaging. How come I can't get that person's attention? Because I know I can help them. How do I convince them that I can help them? And so that's the box I'm checking right now. That's a perfect question.
I like that, dude. Elon Musk, we got to get his attention, baby. I think you guys could change the Tesla manufacturing process.
Oh, I think there's no doubt about it. He is genius level when it comes to manufacturing and stuff like that. And what's true for a lot of people like the Elon Musks in our world, they can really benefit from just a little bit of a Bob Donaldson that can help shave those corners on those square pegs and getting them into the round holes. And so I would love to get his attention, that's for sure, because I think I have something to offer.
I like that, baby. Let's bring that into the universe, into the to our aura, to our space. I like that. We're gonna bring that into our universe.
Amen.
Dude. Is there anyone?
Elon, reach out to me, please.
Yeah, Elon, you better be reaching out to my guy right here. He's gonna change your business. You talked about manufacturing being tough as hell on Joe Rogan's podcast. Well, my guy's here. He's got the 7 steps, baby. And are you ready? Is the question, Elon? Are you ready?
Great stuff, Travis.
Couple last questions, my dude. Is
sure.
If you could sit down for lunch with anybody to a steak dinner, who would you want to sit down with and chop it up with?
Boy, there's a long list. Now, does this mean people in the past too?
It doesn't matter. It could be living or not living.
Got it. Just be a whole table full of people lately. Voltaire. Da Vinci,
Da Vinci,
Caesar, It would be people like Teddy Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, FDR. At current people that are I'll put Elon Musk on that list,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but other humanists out there that are looking for a better pathway forward for all humans, and that and I like hearing both sides of every story.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, is Noam Chomsky on one side of the table and somebody that disagrees with Noam Chomsky on the other side of the table.
Right.
So it's really I love the contrast, because I think it's through that contrast that we tease out the best answers for all of us.
Right.
And quite frankly, if you can articulate the both sides of an argument really, really well, because everybody's aligned to one side or the other. But
Right.
I think the path in the middle can teach us how to reclaim our neighborhoods, our communities, and have people kind of working together again. And
Totally.
we're missing that.
We're missing the debate. Remember, we used to have debate class and things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
like that was like a good old fashioned, like it's called a debate, folks. It's not I hate you and I want you to jump off the earth and rot or whatever it is. It's no, we're debating about this topic that we just don't agree on. We both listen to each other and we both have our arguments and we have our sides. Obviously, in debate, they kind of have a score and it's kind of a competition,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
it's just the kind of nature of basically listening to each other without
You're spot on. I mean, yeah, you're spot on.
without all the just going right to one side or the other. Like you know, most time now you start talking and the other person doesn't want to hear you and vice versa. And so no one's listening to each other. You guys only want to hear yourself talk to yourself. So go ahead, go in the mirror and say, I'm my problem. There you go. Let's just go in the mirror and say, I am my biggest problem today.
Absolutely. Everybody's yelling. Nobody's listening.
Right.
And quite frankly, boy, if you just let your guard down a little bit, we're actually a lot more alike than we are different. And we're just not getting there right now. And it hurts us. It hurts everybody.
Right. And I hope and pray that even though people always talk about the millennials have something different that a lot of the other generations don't, and that there's a lot more bonding and a lot more like the things that didn't happen in maybe the last 40 years that are happening with that generation. I'm hoping they're the ones that make the slow, steady change. It sounds crazy because obviously we see some of the crazy radicalness in that generation too. But I talked to more and more that actually they're in the middle. You know what I mean? And a lot of them are very, very successful. Obviously, I'm interviewing people that are, entrepreneurs and things like that. But these are also people that are changing the world with their companies and with their businesses and things like that. So I'm praying for a change in the younger generation instead of hoping that the older elders are going to take care of it and the top people are going to take care. Maybe it's going to be the younger ones that kind of change it up. I don't know.
Oh, no. Listen. You're hot on it. I just wrote an article that was picked up by Forbes on all about the millennial and Gen Z generations, and some of what they are offering. If the older generations can kind of get off their high horse a little bit, what these younger generations are offering is planet-saving ideas,
yes.
and that's their attention. Planet saving. It wasn't ours, right? And so I think your have to offer is going to keep rolling out year after year, decade after decade. And I think you and I are going to look back at this conversation right now, 20 years from now, and go, yeah, they were the ones.
I think so, dude. That gave me goosebumps. Oh, that's what we know. We know we hit something on the head on that one. My dude, I appreciate your soul, your energy, your passion for life, for business. And I can just feel, I feel basically you in this show. And I really thank you for that, Bob. Where is also the best place for people to learn about the business so we can educate them a little bit more about the lost art of collaboration?
Yeah. And so it's the lostartofcollaboration.com. And it's all there. The video testimonials, the impacts, book, the coaching system, it's all there. The lostartofcollaboration.com, and would love for people to visit.
And I love this sentence that you have on your website, folks. Implement the invite, attract, and cultivate approach today in your business, guys. I appreciate you very much today for coming on the show today. You've been hanging out with Mr. Bob Donaldson.
Thanks,
and Travis Too Tall and Huff. And we want to thank you guys and gals for listening today. And let's keep being real. What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening today.